Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. So, Voyager Part 4 is over. Time to talk about what I thought about it. I understand that I complain a lot, and this video really isn't going to be that different than my last video. I probably just shouldn't have done the last video, but hindsight is 2020. So we'll get right into it, and I might as well just give you my grade right now. 2 thumbs down and 2 middle fingers up. That's right. This is the What Was You Thinking video I was talking about. Start, as I always start with, the officers. Seven of Nine is, from what I can tell, looks like a good officer. Useful in armadas, synergy with Chakotay, and can increase your isolytic damage in PvP. Very nice officer. I'd like the sourcing mechanic this month. But, as so often happens with Event Store month officers, they don't go into the sourcing mechanic for the overall officers of the arc. Why? I don't know. We're still waiting on Odo and Kira and Jadzia and Bashir to be added into the Jaren Armada chest. Don't hold your breath. The Mantis ones. Una and Lon. Now, there is sourcing and incursions. Yay, incursions. But, can you really count that? Because there's also all 3 strike teams there and fleet commanders. Is there enough currency to go around in incursions to call sourcing for all those groups of officers and fleet commanders? I say no. Talk about currency here. This sourcing mechanic for the other officers, it's very low. I don't really like that. But she is a good officer. Neelix, I don't know. Can be useful, I guess. Can't use them in PvP. Can't use them with Tau. Okay, so his burning ability is relatively useless. Why you can't use them with Tau, I don't really know. It's too good, I guess. Not sure I see it. Especially when you can use B'Elanna with Hugh. That's a lot of damage below deck. Not even bridge officers, with your below deck. So why can't you do the same with Neelix and Tau? Hell, one of them has to be on the bridge. But I do like his officer ability. Decreases the cost of the Voyager active ability. It's very useful. I've used it. At tier 1, it's very useful. But again, they didn't get added to the sourcing mechanic. Why? You can add them to the sourcing mechanic. What's it going to do? The daily drip is so small, people aren't going to be like, well, I'm not going to pay money for these officers at all because I can get them in this slow-ass sourcing mechanic. Wouldn't have changed how I would have gone after 7 of 9. It really wouldn't. Wouldn't have changed how I went after Neelix either. But that is just me. Talk about the missions. Alright, I got my notes here. I'm trying to make sure I can read all my handwriting. The missions from the holodeck. Some complaints by me. and a few others, I guess, about when they roll those missions out. Having them too spread out in a month, I don't really like. So, what did they do this month? They changed it all up front. It was nice. There wasn't too many rewards. I mean, there usually isn't, but it would be nice to get a few more extra shards. I didn't really like that they made a bunch of planetary missions. They can be somewhat difficult to find if you can't see in the systems, but however, what I really didn't like is, and I guess this is kind of talking about the feature, with the rare Armada systems, it was locked behind one of these missions. Well, you start doing the mission and it's like, oh, go to this system. Well, it's behind the warp lock path, and the only way to unlock that warp path is to finish the mission. What? You create a mission that has a warp path unlock in it, but you put one of the points in the mission to complete the mission beyond the warp path lock. What? Huh? Wow. Okay. I mean, it's small. I mean, yes, it technically is a what was you thinking, right? I mean, you know the rewards for the mission is a warp path unlock. Why are you putting a point behind it? What was you thinking there? But at the same time, I understand you're going to make mistakes. So it's not really, I'm upset that you made the mistake. It's, y'all don't test this stuff? Come on now. Ugh. I mean, even I go and I proof my videos. I don't catch everything. And I know I don't. I'm not perfect. But I'm also not a company worth $6 billion charging people out the ass just to pay for some of these mechanics, though it is by choice. However, let's go to events. What were you thinking with the events? I mean, I saw it right at the schedule. Right at the start when they released the schedule. There's not enough missions. I mean, events. There's not enough events. I saw it. Other content creators saw it. You players out there, you saw it too. What was y'all thinking? And here's my thought. Now, you know what? I'll give it... I'm jumping around. Too many of these things are actually linked. That I think I'll cover with the feature. I'll give you my thought there. Stay tuned. Didn't pay attention enough. What was it? A Q hostile event. You put the points needed to finish the event so high that it was almost undoable. You had to summon 10 Q hostiles, but you can only... Your daily drip is only enough to get 3 a day. So how do you get the other 2? Oh, you claim it in the battle pass. Well, that was like 2 days ago, man. You know people spent that shit. Come on now. Or you know people are saving it for when Syndicate Advancement comes around. Now, yes, that is a what was you thinking? What were you thinking making milestones that high? It's not a huge one, especially because a few hours later, you corrected it. Good job. Not great implementation on the race. Though I did like you tried something different. More of a race style thing is nice every once in a while. I would have liked more of a PvP scoring mechanic in there. Though you did say, don't let other players destroy you. So there was expected to be PvP with this event. What were you thinking out there, all you players that got butt hurt that somebody killed you with their Rialta? Or another ship. I was using a Rialta to kill all you people. Okay? So, You can't come yell at me that I was killing your Rialta. Have a stronger Rialta. At least I'm not the dickhead bringing a G5 warship in there to chase down a teeny tiny ass Rialta because you can't get over Rialta on Rialta PvP. Tool bags. And you know who I'm talking to out there. Did I mention unrewarding event schedule? Okay, now I did say until the end. Yes. Yes, we all noticed the currency was very low in the beginning, and you changed it at the end. I mean, good for you for giving us more loot at the end. Thank you. But I don't know. Something fishy there. And again, I'll get to that later in the feature. All right. Speaking of feature, I guess there's technically two features. You can count the rare formation armada. We all knew they were coming, or we suspected heavily, because we knew you had to get some kind of sorcery for Voyager officers. We knew that. And that was the most obvious choice. Make rare formation armadas. I don't really like that they're Borg unit complexes or whatever the hell they're called, but they're not even classified as Borg hostiles or Delta Quadrant hostiles. Seems kind of silly. What were you thinking, man? And again, that one is also a very small one, but come on now. What? It just seems silly. But, I mean, Kazon factions, maybe, possibly. It's Kazon factions, right? Kind of too many races in Voyager to really keep track of. And I did mention this before. Yes, there is sourcing and we like it, but there are so little officer shards coming from your pool that can you even call it sourcing? There's 7 or 8 officers in there, and you're probably going to get 1 or 2 shards a day. Wow. And it's diluted between 8 officers. Hell, the amalgam one is a little better than that. I just don't understand what you guys are thinking there. Why? And it's really the inconsistency. Think about Mantis and exchanging your hull fragments for officer shards. How many do you get? I feel like you get a lot more. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I save them all and pull them all at once. I got all the rares maxed, and I had all the rares maxed relatively quickly. And new Pike is tier 4. I just feel like these Voyager shards are going to come very, very, very slowly. And I don't really like it. But that is an opinion. Alright, to the event store. And this is really what kills the whole month for me. Because there's not a whole lot else going on. I mean, rare formation armadas. Yeah, we had formation armadas. The huge draw on any month is always the officers. But then there's always like a feature. A new ship, a new type of armada, an event store. Event stores are big draws. At least they should be. And with this one, I feel like this is one of the worst ones in a long time. And the main reason is the very low currency. And yes, it was corrected. But, I had mentioned it a few times in my videos. Very little change to the event store. To the point where, what is the point anymore? Get rid of everything else and just make it officers. There's no point anymore. You're going to make 4 or 5 different things. Primes, projectiles, skins, ships, ship parts, all these random different types of currencies, fleet commanders and their fleet commander currency. Every event store, players usually will get something and unlock it, and then won't have to do it next time. Well, if you never add anything to the event store, then eventually players get to my point, and there's really nothing for them to get in the event store except the officers, which it's a good way to spend your event store currency. It really is. But what about all the projectiles and the skins and the primes? It's a very good way to source all these things that were pay to play when they came out. And I certainly understand that. You want pay to play items. You got to make money somehow. I understand that. But at some point, these things need to be put in the game somehow for everybody else. There are some primes in here that are... When was away teams? Was away teams over 2 years ago? There's no way to get those primes for free. I don't agree with that. Now, I completely understand primes that came out like 2 months ago. I understand that. Okay? Don't put that in there. That's fine. By all means, don't put that in there. But some of these things that are a year old. Come on now. They got to be in the event store by now. They have to be. And you refuse to do that. You always come up with this excuse what? There's too many things. There's too many items in the event store. Well, there's a lot of things you could get rid of. And you refuse to do it. And even this month, there wasn't much talk about it. You know why? Because everybody was distracted by the lack of currency. So is that what they were thinking? They didn't have to field any questions about changing things in the event store. They didn't have to have Eco go out there and ask all these content creators to poll their community about things they want added to the event store, only to later on in the month not do it. Because, yeah, that happened the last time the event store came around. Y'all remember that? Was there any of that this month? Did anybody even notice? I mean, I noticed. Because it was one of the things that I usually harp on. I want that Franklin crap out of there. It's all trash. So is that what Bart was thinking? I mean, several events were added at the end. There was kind of a lot of them. Of course, you don't really know how many were added. Was it pre-planned? Were the events already there in the code? Intentionally left off the schedule? It's possible. It's entirely possible. I mean, I mentioned it in the last video. According to DJ's conversation with Bart and what DJ shared with us, 17 hours to put all those events in there. Thinking more on it, that actually sounds kind of low. I would have expected a little longer. But at the same time, got a haircut today. I think all the stuff is falling in my face. 17 hours to put all those events in there. Thinking more on it, that actually sounds kind of low. I would have expected a little longer. But at the same time, got a haircut today. I think all the stuff is falling in my face. 17 hours to put all those events in there. Shit, where was I at? 17 hours just seems a little low to me. Takes a little longer to code things out than that, I think. Plus, you would want to test them out a little bit, make sure they work. Not that you do a whole lot of testing anyway, but if I remember correctly, they scored pretty much flawlessly. So, I don't know, man. I think it's possible that that low event store currency payout for most of the month, like 90% of the month, was intentional. Because who was yelling at them to put new things in the event store? I mean, I went through it with you. What are there, like 3 or 4 new things? That's it. Pretty low. You gotta think about how many things came out in the past. Well, I guess technically you wouldn't have put of all those 4 things, but think about how many skins, projectiles, ships, other currencies, primes, and whatnot come out in a 4-month period. Let's say last year, in a 4-month period last year. About time for them to come in there. So, I don't know. I guess, and let me wrap this up here. You've heard me rant and complain enough, I think. I think I'm just very disappointed. At one point in my playing career, I guess, I don't know how you would define that. It's not really a career. My years playing this game, event store months always looked at being an exciting thing, an exciting feature, exciting draw. Because hey, all that stuff that I couldn't get because either I didn't finish a milestone, I placed terrible in a leaderboard, or maybe a few paid things would become available in the event store. I feel like it no longer happens. So, I guess my mood on a month like this is just low, and therefore I just hate everything. Because I'm just so disappointed that the event store just seems lackluster. I mean, I remember it used to be so cool. Oh yeah, I can finally get a Franklin. I can finally get a DeVore. Or, not a DeVore, I guess Vidar. And I can get other officers. I can max my Discovery summon officers. Culber. I spent a good amount of event store currency getting Culber up. I guess I didn't max him. I guess I got him to tier 4. But summon efficiency. It's great. It's not here anymore. It's gone. But, that's just me. Let me know what you think. Comments are, below. You know where they are. What did you really think about this month? Are you now disappointed for event store months? Because not only were they paying out less currency, because it's an event store, you're not getting the tritanium and the bar steel and the gas and the crystal and the ore and the dilithium. It's annoying. Like, if you're not going to give me that stuff, then give me the event store currency. Ugh. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.